Your stocks. I'm Nigel D'Souza. With me is Ekta Batra. It's been quite a quiet expiry actually, Ekta, till now. But last 90 minutes, I think we're going to see a bit of a move here. For majority of the trading session, we've been trading in what, 15-20 point band?
Yes, absolutely.
Point band.
Yes, absolutely. Like nobody would even call it an expiry day up till now.
Yeah.
More like the first day of a new series is what we're doing in terms of trade. But nonetheless, currently for the Nifty, we're at around 9882. We have recovered from the day's lows, so that seems to stand out as a parameter for today's trading session. Midcap index is just about holding its head above the water, really splitting between red and green for that one. And the Bank Nifty also given up most of its losses, but still down around 37 odd points at this point in time. But these are top stories that we're tracking this afternoon. Choppy trade on the last street ahead of F&O expiry. Nifty hovers above 9850. Mid-caps outperform with the index trading with just about minor gains.
And in the first interview after getting the go-ahead for the Carmichael coal mine, Adani Enterprises tells CNBC-TV team that the mine remains an extremely attractive project with a low cost of production, and doubling of EBITDA by 2020 might be a realistic proposition.
Biocon slips, or as in focus rather, as the target action date for its breast cancer drug has been postponed from September 3rd to December 3rd by the US FDA. The management tells CNBC-TV 18 that this will not impact the date of commercialization.
And Fortis Healthcare slips nearly 5% after the Supreme Court reaffirms the status quo order against the Singh brothers in the Fortis share sale case. The matter will be heard next on October 31st.
And in his first interview after taking over as DA secretary, tells us that they do not expect more than 16,000 crores of further demonetized currency to come into the system. Adds that the first quarter GDP numbers due today may be mild and they expect growth story to pick up from next quarter. And
all right, and in macro cues, the street eyes the GDP data for Q1 FY18. CNBC-TV 18 poll expects a sequential improvement at around 6.3%, but GST Fox outlook.
This afternoon, we have Vijay Chopra and Rajat Bose to answer all of your queries. Vijay is on the fundamentals and Rajat is joining in to talk about the technicals. Afternoon, gentlemen, let's get going in terms of the first query that we have. T. Radhakrishnan calls in from Bangalore with a query. He has investments in Maruti. Hi, Mr. Radhakrishnan.
Yeah, yes.
Hi. Your question is on Maruti. You're sitting on a profit, I see.
Yeah. I got 145 average price of 5,050. But I want to know whether I should hold it or I can book profit.
Okay.
I'm a long-term investor, medium to long-term investor.
And how long can you hold Maruti for? You said medium to long-term, but what do you have in mind?
Mine is 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years. Okay. Vijay, what would you recommend to Mr. Radhakrishnan? He doesn't mind holding it for the next 2 to 3 years. He's already making money on Maruti right now in terms of the current holdings. What would you recommend? Stay on?
Well, what would you call a company which is proof of excellence in the Indian markets? What would you call a company where it doesn't matter whether it's GST or demonetization or any kind of headwinds the company faces? What do you call a company when they launch a model there is a waiting line of a few months? I am fairly confident that Maruti is headed upwards. So my target for Maruti is 8,500. He can hold on to the stock. If it doesn't need money, he should not exit. And probably the targets might be revised further as the company grows. So Maruti could be a story where it can be paired with maybe an Eicher Motors or a or an MRF. The stock keeps on growing because the fundamentals are very strong, the sales numbers are very convincing. So I would not recommend an exit for a long-term investor in Maruti. So definitely my take would be hold on to the stock.
All right, Rajat, let's come across to you. Your take on Maruti Suzuki?
I would say again a thumbs up. Maruti has been a great performer, great wealth creator, and this gentleman is holding it for the last 2 years and he is making good money. What I would suggest is put a stop loss around say 6,900, and that is a very strong support area for Maruti. On the other hand, 7,800 to about 8,000 is a supply zone, and if this supply zone were not to be taken out, at least part profit booking could be in order, and if he wants to carry on, then definitely he can carry on, because Maruti's growth story is not yet over, and so it's a hold basically at current prices.
Okay, stay on, hold your holdings for Maruti. That's the word coming in for that one. But we have another query now. Ramesh Rohila writes to us from Maharashtra, holds 2,000 shares of Indiabulls Real Estate, bought at 88 rupees, and since the past 2 months, and he's a short-term investor, wants to know whether to hold or sell that particular stock. Well, what would you recommend, Vijay, on Indiabulls Real Estate?
My sense is that it can further go up to about 250. He can exit half of the position there. And if at all markets are supportive, I think that this stock is headed towards 300. So we've had buying positions in the stock since 1995 rupees, and we are still holding in our clients. So my recommendation would be, as you said, he's a short-term investor, so probably he can book half the profit at 250 and then wait for the other levels to come.
All right. Okay, then let's go across to Rajat as well and get in his view on Indiabulls. Rajat?
See, given the fact that in the weekly chart there is some bit of concern, at least the MACD and the RSIs are suggesting that in the near term, if it were to fall below 215, then it can fall further. So going by that, and what I guess is that this gentleman is not willing to hold it for the longer term. So hold it with a stop below 215. If it would fall below that, then book your profits.
Okay, all right, Rajat, thanks so much for that. Well, on that note then, we'll slip into a short break. You come back, we'll continue our focus on the markets. We'll also answer all your queries.